All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peyton Roberts, and this is my presentation about AI and architecture. So, throughout the modern years and the modern days of the advanced technology that we're all getting to, I like to talk about in this presentation AI and why it's more negative and why it's more of a liability rather than an asset to the career and to the field of architecture. Um, and I'm going to point out a couple of key points and some evidence and data that kind of back that up. And in addition, towards the end, we're going to talk about what can be done to combat this or to kind of ease or help this out. All right, so the first point that I want to make about why AI is more negative to the field and the occupation of architecture and those related professions is that AI really strips away our creative abilities and the value of actual real art. Now that we have all these computers and these software that can do things for us and these applications where we can just, seems like you can just tell any kind of prompt to any kind of thing and you just hook it up and boom, you got a drawing right there for you. I really just don't think that that's a positive influence to our generation or the generations to come on how what it means to be really creative, especially when it comes to something as serious as building buildings. Um, and a really good peer-reviewed journal that I saw from an article called "It's the Opposite of Art: Why Illustrators Are Furious About AI." The author and illustrator Rob, I'm going to butcher this, Bildoff, says, and I quote, "AI generated art is the exact opposite of what I believe art to be. Fundamentally, I have always felt that art is all about translating something that you feel internally into something that exists externally. Whatever form it takes, be it a sculpture, a piece of music, writing, performance, or an image, true art is truly about the creative process much more than it is about the final piece. And simply pressing a button to generate an image is not a creative process." And I couldn't agree more with this. So the second thing I want to mention is that AI could replace creative jobs like architecture itself. And this is more of the quantitative data. And again, kind of tied back to the first point, the more you see the rise of computer aided technology used to generate images for buildings and any kind of really architecture infrastructure is going to have this. And some some things I would like to mention here. In a study, and again, going back to some peer-reviewed stuff and some articles, and a study done by Goldman Sachs in 2023 shows that generative AI has the capabilities to automate and produce up to 26% of work in jobs and companies related to arts, design, entertainment. And in the same study and in the same bar graph published by them, AI is specifically notes specifically in the architecture and engineering profession was reported to produce up to, get this, 37% of work, ranking the profession in the list in top three. So conclusion, what can be done about this? Like I said at the beginning, it's definitely something that we need to pay attention to and look out after. I don't think that we need to necessarily go into insane frenzy about, oh, this paranoia about, architecture and AI. It is negative. It is a negative thing if used incorrectly and if used as a weapon. But I feel like if we take precautions, if we use our resources to what they're intended to be and not have AI as this one-stop shop, um, aspect of, we this is what we use and it's the end all be all. I don't think that is the way to go. This AI should be used as brainstorming and creative thinking, not the actual final product to any kind of solution. And this is my visual aid right here. This is an AI generated image by an architect from, I think, the Middle East, and his name is Manas Bata. Again, I think I'm butchering this, but bear with me. And this is an image that he generated from AI for a project that he did. And although this is an image that, like I said, he generated, this was not the final product. He would go on and tweak this and render it and edit it some more. And like I said, like going back to the original conclusion, it was more of a brainstorming starting point for him. So, all right, and these are my references, and that concludes my presentation about AI and architecture. Thank you very much.